My name is Xae'raan, and I would like to tell you a story. One of growth, making mistakes, learning, becoming humbled, loss, and victory. I invite you to relax and enjoy my tale of a lone Tyrannotitan trying to carve out its spot on the food chain. This story starts like most others. As an orphan, my beginning didn't have the comforts of pack life. I had to learn how to hunt on my own, how to hide from everything that was larger than me, how to survive in an unforgiving land, and when to pick my fights. This isn't my first time playing Path of Titans. I've lived many lives on this server, but this is one of my first attempts at growing something this large. And now, here I am. I'm a young sub-adult at this point, and I've kept myself going mainly off of critters and whatever I could scavenge. I could have tried to attack the trike family, but I didn't. I know how difficult it is to raise little ones in this game. It's pretty stressful knowing that there's something nearby that could gobble up your family, so I completely get why she was on edge. I admired the mother trike's courage to stand her ground while her family ate and drank. Maybe someday I too could look after a little one of my own. In the meantime, I'll just sit and wait. I admit, Trike is one of my favorite playables, so it was kind of fun to just watch the little family while they go about their day. I wanted to let the family know that I wasn't going to be a problem, so I let myself relax. I wasn't hungry anyway. I also didn't want to risk losing the progress I had made, so I was biding my time. To grow to be this size wasn't easy, and I still had a long way to go. I've been playing this game for a while now. It's something I keep returning to in the evenings when I get those couple of hours of free time. I love the player interactions that I encounter, be it roaming around in a herd or being locked in combat. I didn't have the best luck in this life. For most large, hungry things, a young apex is a perfect target. I learned to hide very early on and wait for safe passage. I learned that I was just a meal to other carnivores around me. Scars accented my frame, each one telling a story all their own. Every fight I lived through, every time my story almost came to an end, every single rival I had left their mark. I'm not gonna lie to you though, it was fun the whole way through, despite everything. Being in control of an apex changes my mindset. What's the biggest, meanest thing I can take down? Only time will tell. And speaking of time, it's time to wake up. Now that the family was gone, and I didn't need to act so passive, I decided to have a little sniff around and continue on with my journey. Passive growth is slow on this server, and I agree with that decision, but I wasn't about to just sit around and wait forever. I might have lied just a bit before. I was feeling a little peckish. Nothing a freakishly gigantic critter couldn't fix. I had heard that these massive creatures were some kind of an April Fool's prank by the devs, and I'll admit, as silly as it is, it does make the world feel a little more alive. I didn't realize it at the time, but that trike family didn't wander all too far from my location. I had no clue that we would cross paths again. I didn't realize just how good of a mother that trike turned out to be. By now, I had been questing for a while. Something had just caught my ear for a moment. I thought that maybe it was the family again. I decided then that if fate led us to cross paths again, that I would try and hunt that mother trike. It would have been a good fight, I'm sure, but that just wasn't in the cards for me right then. I was trying to listen, but as soon as I started to search around, the sound had died down to nothing. I was growing very hungry by now, and though I still wasn't fully grown, I was looking to take my chances with something, anything. My search continued. Admittedly, it was strange running into players all the way over at Stego Mountain. It's not really a place that players typically hang out at least I don't think so. That clever mother once again kept her baby safe. I really need to give her props here, because she knew that if she spoke in the group chat, that I would hear them. She handled herself and her family exceptionally well. Great work, Mama. Questing is a lot of repetition with doing the same tasks over and over again. But I find it to be kind of relaxing, if I'm being honest. Why does a dinosaur need blood crystals besides to decorate a nest or a home cave? I don't know. But I don't hate that I have to gather them. I continued to look for the source of that noise. I half hoped that the trike family decided to stop by this bush for a break and maybe some food. I was wrong. The trike family outplayed me. Again. By now, they were long gone, safely away from any danger I would have been. Instead, I was left alone. I scanned the hills and canyons for any sign of life, but I found none. I listened as hard as I could, hoping for any faint footstep. I found none. And so, I continued to focus on growing up. I continued to quest around, gathering various things in the region. I didn't come across that family again, nor did I see or hear any other player around. Once again, this area was as desolate as it looked. I didn't mind it too much, though. Even in a game like this, where there can be lots of action happening all the time, it has its moments of serenity, too. In the dogfights I've been in, mostly I was just defending myself from attackers. In all honesty, at this point, I had barely the chance to try out any of my abilities. I'm pretty sure this turtle was an alpha, but thankfully it seized up and didn't attack me back. Alright, give me a bit while I mince this turtle. By that I mean give me an hour, because it took so long to finally take this big boy down. I gotta put something in the water or something, because holy crap, man. I know I'm a sub-adult, but jeez. His body provided me with the food I needed. I was about to brave a place where I knew there were bound to be other players around. I decided to leave the rest in case some wayward soul came across it and needed something to eat. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not confident in my skills as an almost fully grown apex. I hug the edges of the map in my travels because I'm just a nervous player. I always look over my shoulder. And when you get to be so large that every footstep can be heard for a mile around, it's really hard to not be a target. I mean, for me, it's hearing distant footsteps that make me curious to see what's going on. I'm pretty sure that's by design. And if it happens to me, I know other players use that method of finding people too. Off in the distance, I could hear the sounds of a fight. I stood and watched from afar. I didn't dare to try and third party in case the fight turned out badly for me. I had the idea to just wait and see what happened. It's what I always did. I wanted to see if I could manage to scrounge whatever scraps of the loser's carcass remained from the winner after the winner had their fill. This is how I got to where I was. I didn't take risks. I observed, and I waited for my moment. That is what kept me alive all this time. It was pretty ballsy for a Meg to take on a Giga. Now, I don't know who started the fight, of course, but I did know that eventually one of them was going to fall. It's always neat to just be a bystander and watch others duke it out. I admit I was so engrossed in this battle that I was hardly paying attention to my own surroundings. Something could have jumped me, and I would have been caught with my pants down. All I knew was that I was hungry enough to challenge the winner for their kill if given the chance. But the battle continued. I could tell that the Giga was growing pretty bored of the fight as he moved away, but that Meg was not letting up anytime soon. Now, I haven't played much Giga or Meg myself, but I knew that despite its size, a skilled Meg could do some solid damage under the right conditions. I also knew that a Giga was not something to mess with, unless it had already taken a beating. Though, looking at it from afar, that Giga didn't really look all that messed up. It had a ways to go. I wasn't the only onlooker. Somebody else wanted to cash in on an easy meal. To them, I was the perfect target. Young adult, default scales, probably inexperienced. They would be right. I mean, when you play it safe like I do for most of my Titan's life, you don't really get to test your mettle against monsters like that. And this monster was moving in to begin their hunt. Luckily for me, I saw the Dark Hunter, and I could see the warning signs. As ever, I looked over my shoulder. I ascended the cliffside to skirt around the area, but the hunter was well hidden from view. I only had the sheer mountainside to my flank and the bushes at my feet as my allies. I didn't really get a good look at them before, but from the little bit I saw, they looked larger than me. I was pretty sure a Giga like that could out-trot me, so I didn't want to take my chances in a marathon run. I also knew that I wasn't ready for a contender like that. He didn't seem to have a scratch on him that I had noticed. He was healthy and looking for a brawl. I could hear the hunter. They were getting closer. I feared they would find me. I did the one thing that kept me safe so far, and I leaned into my caution. Now, does that make me a coward? Absolutely. At this point, I could see myself bellying up to an apex that's just been through a fight, but a fresh fighter? Not a chance. I knew I wasn't ready. Not yet. I hoped that the hunter wouldn't see me. The seconds felt like hours, just waiting there in those bushes. They were fully grown and strong. Their scales were hard won through hours of questing. No doubt, this player had been in many fights and won. The same could not be said for me. I waited. I was as ready as I would ever be. But then, I was safe. I knew then it was time to go. Some time passed, and hunger replaced my feelings of anxiety. Unfortunately for this little lizard, it would become my dinner. Tyrannotitans are so hungry all the time, so picking up little snacks like that was an all the time kind of thing for me. I welcomed that quiet night as a newly, fully grown Tyrannotitan. I was feeling accomplished, but weary. It was time for rest. I was feeling pretty good about things up to this point. I was alone at Big Quill Lake, so I knew nobody would be coming around to disturb me. I relaxed, even though I was eager to see what I could do now that I was a proper adult. Tomorrow, I would test the cut of my sails and be ready for whatever awaited me.